Hey everyone, this is going to be a reading for the new moon in Cancer that's coming up. It's on the 20th of June for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere and the 21st, right on technically it's the equinox down here, but right on the solstice for us in the Southern Hemisphere. I think this new moon's going to provide a little bit of relief for people as we shift out of that duality of Gemini and into the really nurturing and caring Cancer. But before we get started, I just wanted to speak a little bit to the anti-racist and Black Lives movement and marginalized lives movement that's happening globally. And I know that as a white person, it can be uncomfortable to talk about a system that we've benefited from. Yeah, it hasn't necessarily worked for everybody, but as white people, we have benefited from a system that has pushed other races and other people down. And I really want to encourage you to be willing to get uncomfortable with these realities and these truths about where you sit on the spectrum of systemic racism, and not that you could possibly sit on the spectrum, but that you do sit on the spectrum and you just need to figure out where it is. There's no shame in doing this work where you can uncover something that hasn't been working and that has been harming other people, whether consciously or unconsciously, but it can change the world if we are willing to do the work to go into that deep discomfort and see where our faults are and where our shortcomings are. Somebody posted a little while ago, if just people of color fighting for their lives and their truths and their right to live freely had worked with just them doing it alone, they would all be free by now and it would be a different world. So everybody needs to work together, and that includes the people who have been in a position of privilege. And I guess my question is, can you really feel free in this existence when you know that the system that we live in actively harms other people? It's worth it to do this work, and it's worth it to do this discovery. And a lot of it has to do with being willing to do the research and to listen to what people are saying and to not get defensive about a truth that might be coming up that might make you feel really uncomfortable or make you feel guilty or like you're in the wrong. Just listen and hold space, because we're in a position of power, and if we can hold space for those voices to be heard like they've been wanting and needing to be heard for centuries, then we can change this balance on the planet and we can shift it to something that actually works in harmony. So for today's reading, there's a girl or a woman from my home province, my hometown, or my home province in Nova Scotia in Canada. Her name's Lamea Reddick, and she is working hard. She's an outreach coordinator and an activist, and she's working hard to create a outdoor programming space for a small community near where I'm from that is predominantly Black and has definitely seen its fair share of hardship in the province and really needs support and energy to help it restore itself and to bring the vitality back. So she is she's starting this project called BLxCKHOUSE with an X, and I would really encourage you. I'm going to put a link at the end of this video or in the bottom of this video. Please, any type of donation that you feel you can spare today, and any donations or any bookings that are made through this video as well. I'm going to be donating 100% of the proceeds to this program as well, but I would just love if you could just spare a little bit of support and time and energy to helping her get this program off the ground and helping to build safe community areas in the neighborhoods and in the areas of Nova Scotia that really need it, because the more access young people have to safe space of activity and creativity, you know, the better we're going to be creating the next generation, and these kids are going to grow up believing that they have opportunity. So I just wanted to put that forward first. I know this video is going to be a little bit longer than my usual ones, but bear with me. It's a message that needs to get out. So her name's Lamea Reddick. The project is BLxCKHOUSE. It's in Preston, Nova Scotia, North Preston, Nova Scotia. And I'll put a link down to a little article about that interview with her, with our local newspaper, and where you can donate at the bottom of this video. And if you feel called to, please definitely spare a bit of money and time. And again, if you want to book with me, then 100% of any of the bookings made through this video will also be going to that cause. So that's all I have on that for now, and let's get to the reading. All right, so our reading for the new moon in Cancer. Bear with me on the switch in setup today. I am traveling now and will be traveling around New Zealand for the next month doing the Healers on Wheels. So my card setups and video setups might change around a little bit. Haven't gotten one of those sweet lights that make your lighting look good all the time, so you're getting the grassroots version while I'm on the road here. And if this is your first time tuning in with me, I'm Indigo Instinct Healing on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Whoop, save that one. And the way that I do my readings is that we'll have our primary energy up top. So the energy that is general for this moon phase, or general for the situation that's going on in your life right now, bit of an umbrella. The energy down below is our shadow energy, which isn't necessarily bad, but it's the energy that you can't see by yourself, and it could be influencing the situation without you realizing. Could also be something that you know is underneath there that you really need to bring up to the surface to heal and help it bring it into the light. And then I'll do a pathway read. Energy up top here in the cross is the energy that's keeping you blocked and stuck. Also the energy that could be kind of like causing a jam in the situation, or making things difficult. And the energy underneath is our path, which is what we can bring into the situation, or what we can kind of embody to help us liberate ourselves and move forwards in this moon phase with a bit more ease. Like I said earlier, I think this moon phase is going to provide a little bit of relief for people. We're shifting into Cancer season, and it's after the new moon that we shift into Cancer season, but I think it's going to be a bit of a softer edge to the times that we're experiencing right now. Not saying that anything is close to over, we are just getting started in terms of revolutionary process, but just in terms of the planets, I think things are going to feel a little bit softer. So this card flew out, I put it down, so I'm going to use that one as our umbrella, which is our medicine mother. And interesting that the moon's in the shadow. Cool. And I'm going to do our pathway read. That's 1, and that's 2. but I'll put it to the side for now and pull it up when we're ready to see it. So, Medicine Mother card. This is the divine inner goddess teacher. This is you knowing what you need to do in this situation. Whether, I know there's been a lot of flurry of information, especially Instagram and sharing posts and sharing ideas and reading perspectives from different people and reading the anger that some people are experiencing, or the truth that others are revealing. But even outside of the global situation, in your own world, whatever is going on right now that feels like a flurry, you genuinely know what you need to do, and you know the answer is within you. I'm sensing a bit of resistance, that it might feel like it's the harder option. It also might feel like it's the more painful option, like realizing that this living situation you're in just isn't actually what you need, or this decision that you agreed to that you thought was going to be great isn't actually serving you. So the Medicine Mother comes into you here to tell you you need to honor what your inner voices are telling you, and you need to honor what your body is telling you. Because there's no amount, especially in the world right now, there's no amount of convincing yourself otherwise that something is working when it's not. So be gentle with yourself, be compassionate with yourself, but get real with yourself as well, and be honest about what's working and what isn't. And then in our shadow here, for the moon, interesting pairing with the Medicine Mother here, because the moon's also warning us that not all situations are set in stone. The moon is changeable, and she moves in different phases, and we don't ever see her in 100% of her fullness. You know, we always see one side depending on where we are. So just because you may know what you need to do, you may need to gather more information before you make a decision, or you may need to give the other person in the situation more of a chance to explain themselves or to get the full story. Having the moon come up in the shadows like this is often this, we feel like we see the whole picture, but we're really just seeing one side really clearly. And it's important for us to kind of suspend our disbelief for long enough so that we can get other information or get the bigger picture about what's going on. The other message I'm getting right now is that the moon also offers patience. You know, it takes her a full month to come through one cycle of being, or one cycle of exposure and vision. So allow things to unfold or to marinate slowly. This is not the time for rash, harsh cuts or decision making. It's the time for talking things out and for pulling in as many perspectives as you can in the situation that you're going through. So maybe you need to speak to somebody else about what's going on, or get a different perspective outside of the situation so that you can get a clearer idea of what might be hidden from view. And for our pathway read, just move these over for now. So our block, yeah, not surprised there. I'll just pull our path. Interesting. Okay, so our block is the Heart Guardian in reverse. So our Heart Guardian is all about moving through love and trusting that you can love, and just opening up to that, you know, everything is love and love is all around us type of mentality. But when she comes up in reverse like this, part of it's about keeping yourself centered in your own heart, especially for the empaths of this world. Especially if you're a Black empath, or you're an Indigenous empath, or you're any other minority empath, you're probably going to be feeling the pain and the energy and the heartache of not only you and everyone in your immediate world, but it's going to be ancestral, and it's going to be reverberating across the planet of this kind of similar heart frequency that everybody's kind of getting onto, which is painful right now, because we're going through this purge of a lot of the hate and a lot of the kind of difficulty that's been in this world. So it's going to be more acute than usual, but when she comes up into the reverse position like this, it's kind of a not a double-edged sword, but it's kind of like two sides of the coin, where it's important right now for you to tend to your own heart, and to be conscious of what you're doing personally, like whether it's coming from your heart or whether you feel like you need to be doing it because of an external source. And also being really mindful of what other people could be going through. And that's everywhere on the street and everywhere in your world. You know, how you treat somebody at the grocery store could be the tipping point for a really difficult day for them, or it could be the tiny bit of human solace that they experience after something that's been really challenging. So kind of like at Christmas time, you know, when people start to really feel like they're more willing to be kind to everybody, see if you can harbor that right now. You know, see if you can keep that kindness with you as we move through. So, you know, hearts are hurting right now when she comes up in the block. We know that, but just be conscious of your own limits and your own boundaries, and then be aware of what other people could be going through. I feel the best kind of advice that I could channel through right now is just, you never know somebody else's story. So just be really, really slow to make assumptions about what people could be going through right now. And then for our path, not easy, but not inaccurate. We've got our solitary wolf and our winter card. So a lot of this for the path card's about leadership, and knowing that in order for you to break out of this cycle, or for you to experience a shift in whatever situation you find yourself in, you're going to have to take the reins and be the leader, whether that's being the one who sets the boundary in a relationship, or being the one that has the difficult conversation that maybe your loved ones or someone else isn't ready to hear. Or maybe that means realizing that there isn't anybody that's going to come around to show you how to do something that you've been trying to do. And, you know, hold yourself with kindness and patience as you figure this out. But moving through in a sense of leadership for yourself and governing yourself is going to make some really big strides in this situation. As well as the message that I'm getting through is just being the example. So I think now more than ever, especially if you're white, the time right now isn't necessarily to look around at what other people are doing, but to listen to the voices that need to be heard, and then take action with yourself. You know, it's not about what does the world need to be doing, what do the systems need to be doing, what do the politics need to be doing. It's what do I need to be doing? You know, what's my first step? And that doesn't necessarily apply to the global situation as a whole. It could could just apply to something personal that's going on with you. But knowing that you're the captain of this ship of life, this boat of life, and the more that you not accept responsibility, but accept the autonomy and the authority that you have within yourself, the easier it's going to be to move through these next couple of weeks, because you won't be getting distracted by other people's plans if you have one that you've made yourself and that you know is true to your own map. So that's our pathway read. Like I said, not the easiest, but then again, not inaccurate. And then we've got our shadow here of our moon and our medicine mother up top. So that was a fly, sorry. That's all I've got for you today. And again, if you can spare a bit of donation and support and energy to the Black House in North Preston project, I'll leave a link down below with the video and an article that you can read up on it as well if you'd like. And I would love to hear your comments as usual. And I hope this reading serves you well as we shift into the new moon. Until next time.